A federal judge is looking to hold the Trump administration accountable for, in his view, defying his court order in a Venezuelan deportation case. Judge James Boasberg had ordered the administration to turn around two planes carrying alleged gang members to El Salvador last month. He says he now finds probable cause to hold the administration in contempt of court for ignoring that order. The White House says it plans to appeal. At the same time, another federal judge is condemning the Justice Department for failing to comply with an order in the case of the man mistakenly deported to El Salvador. Kilmar Abrego Garcia is still locked up in a Salvadoran prison despite a Supreme Court order directing the Trump administration to facilitate his return. Democratic Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen traveled to El Salvador today to push for Abrego Garcia's release. He said his goal is to show the Trump administration and El Salvador's government that, quote, we are going to keep fighting to bring Abrego Garcia home until he returns to his family. A government memo has been obtained exclusively by CBS News. It shows the Trump administration giving officials broad discretion to decide who to detain at Guantanamo Bay, allowing them to send non-criminal migrants there, despite a vow to hold the worst at the base. Let's bring in Tom Dupree. Tom served as the Deputy Assistant Attorney General for the Justice Department. So we have a couple threads we want to pull on with you, Tom. But first, let's talk about this contempt order by Judge Boasberg. It might not be an order. You can correct me on the nomenclature here. He said he found probable cause for contempt in this case of the deportation flights. What happens next?
Well, it's a big order. It's definitely an escalation of this battle that has been raging between the Trump administration and this judge for some weeks now. What's going to happen next is the judge has given the administration the opportunity to what he calls to purge the contempt, which basically says, I'm going to give you one last chance to come into compliance with my order. In that case, this would mean taking the individuals who were removed from the United States back into United States custody. If the government refuses to do that, and my hunch right now is that they probably will not comply, but if the government refuses to do that, at that point, criminal contempt proceedings, at least in theory, will begin. That will involve getting testimony, as the judge envisions it, from the people who were involved in this decision, trying to understand the who, what, where, when, and why of why these individuals were removed after the judge's decision issued.
I have a logistical question here. Isn't Judge Boasberg the same one who is now overseeing the trial, the antitrust trial against Meta? So, I mean, can both actually happen concurrently?
He is indeed, yeah. And look, this is one of those things. Judges get assigned cases on a random basis. They have pretty much a lottery-like roulette wheel in the courthouse. And so it's just a coincidence that this judge got the case involving Meta at the same time he's dealing with the Trump case. But look, judges are busy people to begin with. I'm sure Judge Boasberg can handle both at the same time.
Okay. So let's talk about the case of Abrego Garcia now. A different federal judge is threatening to charge the administration with contempt of court for not applying with this order to facilitate Abrego Garcia's return. Now, the government, according to the judge, is making some nuanced interpretations of what facilitate means. We've also heard the administration and the president of El Salvador say, well, he's saying that he's not going to facilitate. The U.S. is saying even if Bukele does facilitate, they would just deport him somewhere else. How do you see this ending here? And what did you make of the exchanges in court yesterday?
Remarkable on every front. And look, this is another case where a federal judge is simply not agreeing with the legal arguments that the administration are presenting to her. I think her case is a little different than Judge Boasberg's in that in her case, she's dealing with a single individual, and it also concerns a remedy, mainly bringing this guy potentially back to the United States, that might be easier for the administration to do than to bring back the hundreds of people it removed to El Salvador in the Boasberg case. That said, what we heard the other day in the Oval Office is that there does not appear to be any intention, certainly not on the part of the president of El Salvador, nor on the part of the Trump administration, to bring this individual back. And as we heard, even if he were to be brought back, the administration would say, we're just going to remove him again.
So, Tom, the legal, from a legal lens here, the issue at stake when it comes to Abrego Garcia is the fact that he was deported to El Salvador due to administrative error because of this 2019 hold that he can't be deported there, not that he was deported to begin with. Am I reading that correctly?
You're reading that correctly. He could have been removed to a different country. The restriction on a removal to El Salvador was because he had persuaded an immigration judge several years ago that he would face the possibility of torture or other horrible things if he were returned to El Salvador. So it was a block on removal to that specific country, not a block on removing him from the United States generally.
Gotcha. Okay, Tom Dupree, always good to talk to you. Thank you.
Thanks.